Okay, well, let's introduce Angie Patrick. I am so excited to have her on our podcast today. She is an expert in all things massage supplies.
Yes.
She works for Oakworks, which we all know Oakworks is a fabulous company with great products. They've done an excellent job through the pandemic of providing us some great information about how we can reopen safely. And personally, I'm very thankful for that. There's been a lot of, this is probably an understatement, but there's a lot of miscommunication, misinformation out there about how we handle a virus. And Oakworks has done a really good job of making everything very clear and understanding what products we may need to use and may want to use to help reduce the spread. So yeah, I was really impressed with how Oakworks, had put out some videos and things like that. And I know I took advantage of those videos during the pandemic and buying some of the products that were affiliated with those videos that helped me reopen safely. And what I loved about it is that I communicated that to my clients and they immediately felt more comfortable and more safe in my space. And that's what we want. That's what we want to achieve. But I have had the pleasure of meeting Angie and just knowing her for a few short weeks now, but ever since I started talking to her, I just felt her warm energy and I just am excited to talk to you today and share you with my podcast audience. Now, you have quite a history. You've worked for Massage Warehouse. You've
Mhm.
done some writing for massage publications.
Yep, Massage Today.
If you could just take a couple minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself, Angie.
Well, have been in the massage and spa industry for about 25 years now total. Of that time, I spent a great deal of it, 22 years, at Massage Warehouse, where I was a very early employee. And I left there about May of 2022. I left and went to Oakworks. I enjoyed a career of, I can't tell you how much I loved my job. I loved my job so much. I enjoyed a career that was filled with meeting new people like yourself who genuinely love human beings and want to make a difference in the world. And that's been really my inspiration for my whole career, between creating new products, bringing new products to market, kind of inventing new stuff, making improvements on things, helping vendors get their products off the ground. That was the business side of it from the vendor side. But then from the therapist side of it, I got to meet so many amazing people with hearts of gold and that would bend over backwards to help someone in pain. And it just it just does my heart good to work with people like that and to know that I'm not a therapist. I'd like to be one, but I think I'm a little long in the tooth to start that to start that this late in the game. But I love being of support to that type of person in that type of industry because I know that what I'm doing is helping people like you and people like your listeners to go out and do exactly those things that I know I can't do. They can go help people feel better, help people relieve pain, help people handle anxiety, handle all the things that the world keeps slamming at them. I just am so in awe of people who are healthcare providers like massage therapists, like yourself. It's a very selfless job, but I know it's rewarding for you, but it takes a lot from you as well. And so if there's one thing that I really love about being in this industry is being able to bring self-care things that help the therapist get through to the next day, that help your aches and pains. That was always something fun that I did, and I worked with a lot of great companies that focused on that kind of thing. So for me, that it's just been a fantastic career. Now that I'm at Oakworks, we build all sorts of massage tables. We work in the medical field. We work in luxury and spa. It's all over the place, and it's a whole brand new world because I never worked in the medical side of the house before. I never worked in really luxury and spa before. My job, my focus here is now I'm head of distribution and the key accounts. So I manage franchises, I manage all the distribution, I manage that type of thing. And I'm still finding my way through this. You know, you're never too old to learn. And I thought I had this pretty well under control and knew what I was getting into, but like with everything, everything is an adventure, right? So it's been a challenge to learn some new tricks from a manufacturing point of view rather than a distribution model, but I have just wrapped my arms around this. I look at this as a challenge, and I love to be challenged. I love when somebody thinks or even says, "I don't know if that's gonna be a good move for you." I have friends who said, "I don't know, you're pretty good at what you're doing. Stick with what you know. Don't do something so varied from what you know at this late in the game," right? And I'm like, "Well, who are you? Sit down. I got this. I got this. We're gonna do this." There is no no. There's just a let's figure out how, and that's kind of my philosophy. You mentioned writing. I wrote for quite a number of years. I wrote a column for Massage Today called Business Building Blocks, and I haven't written in quite some time. I am looking to maybe get back into writing a little bit. I love to do that. I love to share the stories that I learn in the field at trade shows from therapists, and I learn how they've overcome struggles and overcome so many hurdles to be exactly who they want to be. And those are the kind of stories I love. I love to promote and talk about people who are achieving their goals and achieving their dreams, and then help people who maybe need some product along the way. And that's what I have the knowledge of. So that's been my career pretty much in a nutshell. A long conversation there. Sorry it took so long to say all that. But that's pretty much it. I'm blessed. I have been blessed, and I am grateful to be a part of this community.
Well, we appreciate you because we need people like you in our lives to help be our cheerleaders, to help provide us product knowledge and business help and development. We need people like you to help us. Because
Thank
I
you.
think as a caregiver, as a healthcare professional, as an empath, most massage therapists struggle with asking for help ourselves and getting help and receiving help and getting that, you know, support from other people and vendors and our posse, right? Our
That's
team
right.
people. And so I think it's so valuable to have somebody like you to know that we have you to help us through our trials and tribulations and questions about products. Cause I mean, gosh, we're not experts in that at all.
But that's why you have to have a tribe, right? You have to have a group of people because I couldn't begin to know what you know about massage therapy, nor am I in a position to where I can take the time from my day job to educate myself on some of those things. Same with you. If your focus is helping others, then it's very hard to crowd your brain with all the different brands, all the differences of those brands, all the reasons you would choose this over that or that over this. That's where I come in. And that's the part that I've loved for all this time. And I've made so many great contacts with amazing manufacturers and incredible vendors that bend over backwards to make the better products for massage therapy. It's just been a delight, and I'm grateful that you find that this can be useful to you because it's my joy to help you with your new endeavors, which are very exciting, and to be of support to you or to your viewers. I'm happy to help anybody, especially when it comes to products at any time. Now, I'm not working for a multi-line distributor now. I just work for Oakworks. But that doesn't mean that all the knowledge that I learned about all these products is gone anywhere. It's still right here, and I'd love to be a resource for people if they have questions or they need, just a little bit of a nudge in the right direction. I'm happy to be that. that catalyst for whatever is coming next. I want to be of help. That's ultimately our job in life, in my mind, is to be of service. Certainly in my heart, that's my goal, is to be of service and to leave a legacy of caring and understanding and compassion. And I think my ministry and the way I do that is exactly what you're saying, is trying to help as many people with what I've learned, and then learning from as many people as I can, because it takes a tribe, it takes a posse, like you said.
It does. And I think, if we're not doing something that, this one's a hard one for me to get through without being emotional.
Oh, honey.
It, what am I going to,
You
how am I,
see me hugging you? I'm hugging you from here. I'm hugging you from right here. I feel it
no,
too. You've got so much going on. You've got
I
so many
do.
things going on in your world, and it's emotional. It's probably all top level with you right now.
It
I
is.
know.
And, these podcasts are kind of like my therapy. So sorry, people, you're getting my therapy out
I don't
loud.
think they'd want
And
you any other way. They wouldn't want you to be any other
no,
than what you are.
I mean, the phrase goes that if you don't do something that scares you every day, you're not growing and becoming a better person. That's what I was trying to get out when I got emotional about it. Because I am doing something that scares me big time by opening this massage supply and training store.
Yeah.
And I'm just, as I mentioned before, I'm just so thankful to have people to help me get through the things I don't know. And you don't know what you don't know, but
Right.
surrounding yourself with experts that can help you and you trust them and depend on them to provide that expertise is critical in business success.
It is.
And, I think a question I'd like to ask you is, looking back on those business writings that you did over the years for Massage Today, is there something that really stands out to you that you'd like to share with the audience that really is a good tip or trick to help become successful in the marketing industry?
Yes, and I would love to share this with you, and for anybody that's ever attended one of the places that I would speak, like Successful Start or Smart from the Start for students, they probably heard some of this before, but it's really kind of the most important thing in my mind for anybody who's starting out as a therapist or looking to open a business, and that is your customer perception, your customer experience. It lends not only to the sales cycle, to the service cycle, but also, to your point, to the marketing. If you don't provide a solid first impression, you don't get that opportunity again. Now, I didn't invent that. That's something that's been said by many people smarter than me, but I have made the wrong impression at first with some folks early on, and it's hard to overcome. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how smart you are, how quick you are in business, how it doesn't matter, because if you've already blown your opportunity for that first impression, it's blown. It's all together blown. And I'll share with you a story. I was at a trade show, and I've said this at Successful Start, and it kind of gets a chuckle, and I'm glad, because that means people will remember it. But I was at a trade show, and I was having some pain, and I thought, well, I'm at a trade show full of therapists. Surely I could get some work done. So I asked around some of my colleagues, and I got a referral. And that person was at the trade show, and of course they came to the room, and they came highly recommended. And I thought, this is gonna be fabulous. This is great. This is somebody that's top notch, and I'm super stoked that I'm even able to have an appointment, much less at a trade show. I'm just so blessed, right? I was so excited. And they came in, and God love them. God love them. They had a beautiful table. Their table was fantastic. But what really struck me were the SpongeBob SquarePants sheets that they put on the table. That was, it was funny, and I get it, but I was a client in that moment. It wasn't like my buddy coming and doing me a favor. I hired this person. I was paying this person to come and I wasn't offended. It wasn't a matter of being offended because I mean, I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? I love SpongeBob. I've seen it. By the way, I've seen every SpongeBob 24/7 because of my daughter. She loved SpongeBob. So I know every word to every one. So I am a SpongeBob fan, but maybe not so much from my healthcare provider, and that's what I think of when I think of a massage therapist. And I think the overarching point for that wasn't so much that they had the cute sheets, because I mean, that is cute. Don't get me wrong. And it probably was a very big telltale about their personality, that they're a fun-loving person and that they don't take themselves too seriously. And I totally get that. However, this is the point that I'd really like to make is when you're a massage therapist, people come to you and they put trust in you because they've got an ailment or a concern or something physical, sometimes emotional, sometimes that can happen too, but they're coming to you for help. So that sets you up to be a healthcare provider. So by any definition of that term, you're a healthcare provider. So as that, is it appropriate then, if you're looking at yourself in that light, to have those cute little personality thingies going on in your practice? In my mind, I don't agree with it. And I don't agree with it because as high as this person was given accolades to come and visit, I it wouldn't matter if I could have levitated. If she might have levitated me, you know what I mean? On the table, just levitate. I couldn't get past that initial thing because I thought, gosh, if she's not taking herself seriously, why am I taking her seriously? And that's not to say that she wasn't an amazing therapist, because she was. It was just what happens in my head, right? It was that dynamic that happened in my head. So I just have to say that I feel like there is a time and a place for that sort of thing. But a massage therapist, we've fought long and hard. When I first started in this industry ages ago, I won't talk about how old I was, but it wasn't something that you told everybody. You didn't tell everybody you were a massage therapist because that carried a certain connotation, right? That carried a certain predisposition in some people's mind about, oh, you're a massage therapist. That's not at all what you were. So you were reticent to tell people, that that's what you did. And after a lot of amazing people fought very hard with all the associations, talking to medical personnel, creating education tracks, creating all this incredible content on a medical level, to have all of that work kind of go out the window is kind of a tragedy to me, because one of the things that I know therapists struggle with are, I've heard, this is the saddest thing that I've heard. Okay, I have to go find a real job because I can't make ends meet being a massage therapist. I don't think I've ever heard sadder words in my life, because being a massage therapist is a real job and it is a profession and it is something to be proud of. But I feel like when you make the choice to set the bar on a more personality driven level rather than a healthcare level, you're limiting your income, because a massage therapist, you have a wide range of pricing depending upon where you are in the nation. You have an opportunity to set your pricing, and that is going to come just like with any brand, how you set yourself apart from your competitors, if you will. So are you going to be a bargain hunter's dream? Maybe that's okay, and there's a need for that. Or are you going to set yourself up as a healthcare provider that can maybe get referrals from doctors, that is professional enough to go into a hospital setting if necessary and work on a client? I mean, it's a different, forgive me, it's a different hierarchy. It's a different hierarchy. So I was saddened. I was glad to get the massage ultimately, and grateful that I had that very talented therapist agree to come and see me at a trade show. Grateful for that because they were tremendously helpful. But by the same token, I kind of was saddened a little bit because I thought, gosh, this person is so amazing that if they just took themselves a wee bit more seriously, what else could they achieve? What else could they do? And so when I say one of the biggest overarching things is your first impression, it matters. It really does matter. You don't have to have the top of the line anything. You know what I mean? You don't. If you can afford it, that's fantastic. You do the best you can for the money that you have, right? Do the very best you can do. Set yourself up in the very best way for the budget that you have. But for the same amount of money that was spent on linens, there could have been more appropriate. It could have been more appropriate for a professional, is what I'm trying to say. So professionalism matters. And ultimately, I think that that goes through to the marketing as well. When you market yourself, how are you putting your information out there? What are you putting on social media? Because don't think that that's not part of the interview process anymore, not just with employers, but I can tell you that if I'm going to a new doctor, if I have to go to a new general practitioner, I'm looking for social media sites. I'm looking to see what kind of person they are in their personal life. If I can see that. So that way I can make a more informed decision about who I want to trust with my healthcare. So I think that the same would hold true with massage therapists. So you have to be very careful. I'm not saying don't be cute and funny online. I'm just saying if you've got a personal profile, keep that thing personal and then make a professional profile that you share with your clients.
Yeah.
You don't have to have, your clients know you had eggs Benedict and champagne for breakfast on Saturday and then went partying that night. They don't need to know that. They don't need to know all that. They need to know that you are a compassionate and caring professional and that you've set yourself up as a professional and that they can trust you. And to me, that makes all the difference in the delivery of the service, in the delivery of the health care that therapists provide. A lot of it is perception. A lot of it is customer perception, client perception. And for them, perception is reality because they don't sit there and look at your pedigree. They don't look at how many classes you've taken, how many CEUs you have, how many certifications you have. They see a lot of letters after your name, but often they don't even know what that means. All they get is what you show them. And that's where it makes the difference, right? That's to me, that's the secret sauce.
I completely agree. And, to stay professional, that doesn't mean you have to compromise your personality or your character. I mean, massage therapists are beautiful people to the
Yes.
core. I mean,
Yes.
I've met thousands upon thousands of therapists. And I mean, and as a blanket statement, I'm going to say this. This might not be true for every massage therapist, but I'm sure for every one of our listeners, this is true that we're empathetic and
Yes.
we're in it to help people. We're in it to really care and love on people. We're in it to actually help people facilitate their healing process and become less in pain, whether it be emotionally or physically. I want to share a story with you. And I think I've shared this story on the podcast before, but I really like this story. So I'm going to say it again. So if this is a story you've already heard, I apologize, but I love this story because this was one of my aha moments in my career was when I first became a massage therapist. I had that perception going into this industry and profession as it's not as professional as people don't perceive it as a professional medical healthcare kind of position. There's that underlying idea that it came from prostitution and I didn't think that, but I knew that that was a societal norm. And I joined the American Massage Therapy Association, the AMTA. A lot of people know what that is, but if you don't, you should check it out. It's amtamassage.org and it's nationwide. and there's probably a chapter near you if you're in, a metropolitan area. But I joined the AMTA because I saw the class list at the national convention, and I can't remember what year it was. I wish I could, but I remember looking over the trade show floor, and it was down below and I was up above in this area, and it was where registration was. And I looked around and I saw these trade show booths. And I came from a marketing background. So I was a trade show babe for a long time for a lot of corporate companies,
Yep.
hard work. And I came from that background. So coming into this as a brand new massage therapist, I looked across this trade show floor and I saw all these professionals, all these people, some of them dressed in suits and ties or suits and business attire, and talking about their products and talking about the muscular system and I mean, it blew my mind. I was like, and I just wept. I wept because I felt like I found my people. It was the marriage between, yeah, it was the marriage between the professional side and my empathetic helping people side, and the industry that brought those two together for me. And the AMTA helped me do that, helped me realize that there is a family of therapists out there that aren't sex workers,
Right.
that
Right.
are professionals, that have plethora of knowledge out there. And I hope I don't offend anybody by what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. I'm not saying these things to be, to offend anybody. But I do think we've come a long way in our profession over many, many decades. New therapists, young therapists may not know the struggles in which we've seen over the past few decades. And coming into this profession now, it is a lot different than what it looked like in the 70s and 80s. Now, I have only been a therapist for about 15 years, but even in those 15 years, I've seen tremendous amount of progress and change in the thought process of my clients, my fellow therapists, chiropractors, doctors, patients, across the board. People are respecting us more. And we don't want to get set back
Right.
by making a small, quirky mistake like the SpongeBob SquarePants sheets. I mean, as cute and as funny as that may be, and I totally appreciate the thought process behind her doing that, making it a little lighthearted. But I agree with you in that capacity because we have come leaps and bounds, and we don't want anything to set us back. And when a client walks into your spa or you walk into their house or wherever your setting may be, if you're in a wellness center, chiropractic office, medical facility, that first impression is important. If you're wearing professional scrubs with your name on it, or if you're wearing a t-shirt, torn jeans, it's going to make a difference in the way they think of you, whether you do a great massage or not. They're
Right.
going to, she was wearing ripped jeans, and that was very unprofessional. And that's
Right.
sad, but it's true.
Well, to your point, it is sad, but you know what? Because of how the industry was perceived just as little as 2 decades ago, we have to try harder. It's not like you accept a nurse as being a professional right off the bat. And if a nurse happened to be at a doctor's office and come in on their off time and they have their ripped jeans on, they're still a nurse because the world knows what they have to go through to get that education. The world doesn't know what a massage therapist has to go through, and they don't know it's not just automatically given. That respect has been a hard earned, and there's been a wealth of people that come before us that have raised that bar. And for me, I just feel like, why would you set yourself up with yet another hurdle to overcome when it can be met in the onset and negate any concern that you're not professional, that you're not a healthcare provider, or that you're something other than, what you'd like to be perceived as. So to your point, I love your story, and I'm so glad that you found your tribe, because I kind of felt the same way. I was in a whole different realm of business before I got into massage and spa, and I felt like a square peg in a round hole. It just didn't fit.
Yeah.
And when I finally found my groove, that was such a glorious time. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I knew that I wanted to excel. Now, is that to say I didn't make mistakes? Of course I did. Of course I have. And will I? Oh, heck yeah. I'm going to continue to. But that's part of the human condition, right? That's what we do. If you're not failing in some way, you're not trying. So failure is not it's not something to say, well, I screwed that up, I can't go back. No, it just means do it again. Just keep going. Keep trying. One of the things too, when we're talking about perception, and I used to write about this too. I'm revisiting some of the old things that I used to talk about a lot, but I think in this forum and with your listeners, maybe this is pertinent as well. The first impression goes well beyond what you are looking like and the equipment. Let's say you have a facility that you work out of, right? And that you have a room that you rented, or that you have a room in your home. Whatever your space may be. When was the last time that you took a moment to get on your table while you're in that position and look around your room from that perception of the client? Because if you can see underneath your desk and you have chewed gum under your desk, or you've got, a little candy wrapper behind the door, or a piece of fuzz that you haven't, don't think that they haven't made a mental note. Maybe not taking notes and saying, I'm going to just check that next time I'm here. But if they see it the next time they're there, they're going to know you're not necessarily cleaning everything. And in this world of COVID, in this world of cross contamination, and wear your mask and don't touch anything and try not to sneeze. And if you sniff, get off the plane. Don't even get on the plane. In this heightened sensitivity that we're in now, paying attention to these cleanliness things and the way that you've presented your area is also equally important. So I just wanted to add that, because it's kind of a big deal.
Love that addition. And I'm giggling while you're talking about this, because I have to say, every single time I get on my own table, I always look at the floor and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how dirty this is. I am so embarrassed. And I immediately clean the floor up. I mean, it's not like filthy, but I see
No, but it's just, you don't know it till you get on the table,
yeah,
right?
and that's the perception. That's you're living with blinders, and
That's
you
right.
don't see under the table until you're on the table. So
Right.
get on your table and look. Absolutely. And another thing is, one thing that I did in my spa is I looked up at the lights up above, and I realized the lights shine right in the client's face. So I
Right.
took those light bulbs out, and I actually ended up replacing them with these salt lamp light bulbs that are really cool.
Oh, wow.
And I've been trying to source them to sell in my spa, and they come from Asia, and you have to buy like 10,000 of them. So I
Oh my
apologize.
gosh.
I don't think I'm going to be able to source them for my store in the beginning, maybe eventually.
Hi, everyone. We really hope you enjoyed this episode with Angie and I. And we had such a great time talking to each other that we decided to put this into 2 different episodes. So be sure to check out the next episode to hear the rest of the conversation.